All right, my neighbor told me some guys crawled out the window. Who was that? Who crawled out the window?
I'd like to know myself.
Oh, well, you were there, obviously. The neighbor said, hey, your house broke into? I'm like, I don't know, I can go check and think. Why would my house be broken? He said, I seen somebody crawling out of your window. I can only assume it was a guy she was messing around with. No one took nothing.
Oh, you are in an intimate relationship.
But she's still married.
Oh, where's that?
You get it from your mama.
No, you get your behavior from your mother, because
but we've
you
never
all
been
don't
on
know
31st
anything.
Street.
Hold on.
Let's get it correct,
Hold
sir.
on.
You know about like how a female got a little girl code, right? How you could look at your friend and you could tell a whole paragraph just by doing this. You know what I mean,
That's
right?
how we do?
Look how you looking right now. You
We
telling
really
something
can't
on
do
the-
this.
Ms. Fisher claims that after having their first child and becoming pregnant again, Mr. Meyer abandoned her and denied fathering her second child, Xavier. She is visibly upset and firm in her assertion.
But after having your first child and getting pregnant again, he abandoned you and denied he fathered your second child, Xavier.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Meyer argues that Ms. Fisher was unfaithful, having multiple affairs during their relationship, which leads him to doubt the paternity of Xavier. He is adamant that they were not together when Xavier was conceived.
You contend Ms. Fisher was a serial cheater who had numerous liaisons with different men during your relationship. You and the plaintiff were not even together when she conceived her child, and there is absolutely no way you are Xavier's father.
Ms. Fisher details how Mr. Meyer left after finding out about her second pregnancy, leading her to move in with a family member to improve their lives. This shift was marked by Mr. Meyer's decreasing involvement and eventual absence.
After the new year, we were gonna have a second son. Him knowing that, he decided he didn't want anything to do with it. I ended up living with another family member, just to better our lives. We were doing a switch off, watching our son together, and after that, we had a lot of disagreements, just arguing a lot, turned into him not coming around at all.
In a heated exchange, Mr. Meyer expresses his conviction that Xavier is not his child, detailing incidents of Ms. Fisher's alleged infidelity, including finding strangers in his home, which further fuels his doubt.
You haven't done anything because Xavier's
Your-
not your child?
No, that is not my
Explain
child.
your position to the court.
We were not together when she got pregnant with Xavier. She's cheated on me multiple times. I came home, I found my mattress flipped over. Came home, I found multiple people in my bedroom.
A minor yet revealing argument erupts over their first son's name, reflecting deeper issues of trust and acknowledgement, complicating Mr. Meyer's feelings about his paternity.
I have a 3-year-old son who is almost 4 years old this year, named him after Michael. So he is a junior.
She wouldn't even name him Junior. She named him the second.
Well, my son is the second. That's the same thing.
I wanted him to be Junior.
Okay,
I think she knew it wasn't my son. That's why she wouldn't do it.
So she gave him the second?
So she named him the second instead, yeah.
Mr. Meyer recounts his reaction to the news of Ms. Fisher's pregnancy, highlighting his doubts and the inconsistent details about the pregnancy timeline, which he uses to justify his skepticism.
Well, she explained to me and told me she was pregnant. At the time before that, we were kind of on and off. We were fighting constantly. I don't think we were really together at that time. With other guys, I really didn't think the kid was mine at all. There was a chance the kid was mine. It didn't add up when she told me. She constantly changed her due dates. Like, nothing made sense. It added up.
A dramatic moment arises when Mr. Meyer accuses Ms. Fisher of cheating, based on a neighbor's claim of seeing a man escape through a window, which Ms. Fisher vehemently denies, arguing the impossibility of such an observation.
All right, my neighbor told me some guys crawled out the window. Who was that? Who crawled out the window?
I'd like to know myself.
Oh, well, you were there, obviously. I mean, the neighbor said, hey, your house broke into? I'm like, I don't know, I can go check and think. Why would my house be broken? He said, I seen somebody crawling out of your window. Really? So I go run to my house. Nothing's gone or nothing like that. I can only assume it was a guy she was messing around with. No one took nothing.
Ms. Fisher describes a poignant scene where she forced Mr. Meyer to hold Xavier for the first time, hoping it would change his mind. Mr. Meyer, in tears, insists on his non-paternity. The DNA results are up next, and they're a real game changer. Stay tuned.
I physically make this man hold his own child for the first time, thinking that Hope feels some sort of guilt in his heart and know that this is his child when he looks at him in his eyes. He refuses to see that, so he cries, asking, I would just rather you not come around anymore.
I didn't want to take the baby. It's not mine. I don't want to see him or hold him.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Meyer, you are the father.
Can you believe what just went down? Mr. Jones throws a curveball by expressing his serious doubts about being the father of Ms. Turner's 5-month-old son, Amir. He spills the beans that a cryptic text message received 3 weeks ago cranked up his suspicions. This juicy piece of gossip has him questioning the paternity, throwing a spicy twist into the courtroom drama. Brace yourself, because the saga is just heating up.
Mr. Jones, you state you have always believed you are not father of the defendant's 5-month-old son, Amir. You claim your suspicion suspicions were confirmed after a text message just 3 weeks ago.
Did that moment just leave you reeling? As the courtroom digs into the enigmatic text that shook Mr. Jones to his core, Judge Lake calls for the evidence. Mr. Jones unpacks the message's contents, and the courtroom gasps in unison at the unfolding scandal, emphasizing the shock value of this pivotal moment.
It's a message from Facebook. I don't even know.
Jerome, let me see that evidence. You say just 3 weeks ago.
Yes, Your Honor.
You get this message. Why you claiming that baby? Men running in and out of her house. Don't be a fool. That is not the message you want to get when you think you have a newborn baby. So what's going through your mind when you get this? This is at 12:59 a.m.
You won't see this twist coming. As the narrative takes a sharp turn, Mr. Jones recalls discovering a sneaky text from a neighbor to Ms. Turner at an ungodly hour, hinting at a not-so-innocent rendezvous. This bombshell stirs more doubt about Amir's paternity and points fingers at possible infidelity, cranking the courtroom tension up a notch.
Seen a text message in her phone saying, "Are you okay?" I'm like, this number is not from any of your brothers. She broke down, got to crying and told me. She told me.
I was crying.
She let me know who it was and said that he was trying to come over.
Oh, so you're saying when you confronted her about this, she broke down and started crying. You thought this was out of guilt.
Yes.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled. Amidst the turmoil, Ms. Turner admits to reigniting an old flame due to her suspicions of Mr. Jones's own wanderings. This confession sparks a fiery exchange, highlighting their rocky relationship riddled with distrust and accusations.
So since he want to go out and talk to somebody else, so yeah, I got my ex up like, good morning.
But you
Why would
love
I
him.
tell you good morning?
But you love him.
So, Ms. Turner, you're admitting you began to have a relationship with your ex because you believe
on the phone. We had a relationship. He was living in Memphis. So I hadn't seen him or nothing. We were communicating.
it has been determined by this court. Mr. Jones, you are the father.
Thank you.
Strap in, because this opener is a doozy. Mr. Peterson describes how his world fell apart a month ago when his wife, Mrs. Peterson, revealed that their 22-year-old daughter, LaJoya Jackson, might not be his biological child. This moment sets the stage for the emotional and tumultuous revelations that follow.
Mr. Peterson, just 1 month ago, your world came down when your wife, Mrs. Peterson, revealed she had been keeping a secret. That your 22-year-old daughter, LaJoya Jackson, may not be your biological daughter.
You're not going to believe this one. Mrs. Peterson admits to having had an affair 22 years ago, but asserts her desire to prove that Mr. Peterson is indeed La Joya's biological father. This confession introduces the primary conflict in the episode, highlighting the stakes involved for all parties.
You admit that 22 years ago, during the window of conception, had sex with another man, Mr. Beckham, but you want to prove today in court that Mr. Peterson is Jackson's father.
Talk about a morning shocker. A casual morning turns into a pivotal confrontation when Mr. Peterson overhears his daughter LaJoya questioning her paternity. Mrs. Peterson's avoidance, when confronted, exacerbates the situation, leading to increased tension and confusion.
My daughter LaJoya and her mother, my wife Latia, they were outside talking, and I got up to go outside. Before I could say anything, I heard, "What? Milton might not be my dad." Looked at my wife and I said, "What is she talking about?" And she ignored me. I asked her again. She kind of teared up and she walked off.
Here's where it gets even stickier. Mr. Peterson expresses his deep bond and lack of doubt regarding LaJoya being his daughter, revealing the profound impact of the revelation on his sense of family and identity. This segment underscores the emotional weight of paternity uncertainties.
We have so much in common. I never, ever would have thought that.
And you and Ms. Peterson, you've been together for how long? 23 years?
Yes.
And married for 13 of those years.
Yes.
So this is a long-standing relationship, and you never knew.
This twist takes the cake. LaJoya details her proactive steps in uncovering the truth about her paternity after learning that her boyfriend was not the father of her child. Her determination to resolve her own paternity confusion mirrors the complexity of familial bonds and secrets.
So then I confronted my mother, which is the conversation that my father, Mr. Peterson, walked and asked her, "Do you want to just go and do it so that, just for my clarity, because I'm feeling some type of way?" And she had never admitted that there was a possibility of one guy being my father, potentially being my father. There were multiple guys that could possibly be my father.
This one's a real tearjerker. The paternity issue has led to severe family strife, with Mrs. Peterson sleeping in the car and the family ceasing communication. This breakdown showcases the broader impacts of personal secrets on family dynamics and unity.
To my mother sleeping in the car in the driveway. Ended up getting so sick from sleeping out in the rain, and it's like we don't exist to each other. It's not as much as I'm mad at him, it's as much that I'm hurt to look at him every day. Like, that hurts me, you know? I know that it's not my fault, but I still feel so involved just for the simple fact that I don't want to see him like that.
Grab some popcorn, because this is the drama peak. Mrs. Peterson faces tough questions about her past actions and the number of potential fathers, revealing a much more complicated history than previously disclosed. This revelation shocks the audience and adds layers to the unfolding drama.
Would you ever said anything if this man had not approached her a year ago?
It just feels so weird knowing that it's a potential that somebody else could be my father, because I never thought that this could happen to me. Never thought. Oh, this might not be my dad. I just wake up and be like, oh, dad, make me some, oh, this might not be my dad. And now if he feels as if he can't take this and I'm not his child.
Just when you think it's calming down, bam, another curveball. Mr. Beckham enters the courtroom, discussing his brief relationship with Mrs. Peterson and his potential role as LaJoya's father. His previous lack of involvement and current willingness to accept responsibility if proven to be the father introduce new tensions and possibilities into the narrative.
We are getting down to the bottom of this paternity situation as it relates to LaJoya. When did you find out that you could potentially be her biological father?
I found out like about 2 weeks ago. She contacted me through Facebook, and basically she had told me once before that, you know, she could have been pregnant. I I moved away. But basically, you know, we had met at a party, you know, drinking.
Hold on to your seat. This is the big one.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Peterson, you are not her father.
Oh my God. Are you serious? Really, Mom? I came and asked you. Tell me before we go. Do you know? I know. I thought you knew, Mom. I thought you knew. I'm sorry.
Can you believe this? Miss Vaughn is here claiming Mr. Williams is the dad of their 1-year-old, Connor Williams, pinning their shotgun wedding squarely on the pregnancy. She's also split from him now, and he's bailing on dad duties.
Miss Vaughn, you are here to prove to your husband, Mr. that he is the father of your 1-year-old child, Connor Williams. You say the only reason the two of you got married, pregnancy, and now that you filed for divorce, he refuses to be a father.
Here's where it gets spicy. Mr. Williams throws a curveball, saying the wedding was a sham, accusing Miss Vaughn of gold digging, and topping it off with a bombshell. There's a sugar daddy in the mix he thinks might actually be Connor's real pops.
Mr. Williams, you say you got married under false pretenses, claim Miss Vaughn only you for your money. You also believe Miss Vaughn has a secret sugar daddy and had that man throughout your entire relationship, and he's the real father.
What's this now? Judge Lake dives into the drama, quizzing Miss Vaughn on what exactly Mr. Williams has done for baby Connor. Spoiler, it's not much. A few diapers and a couple of onesies don't make a dad, right? Buckle up, this ride's about to get bumpier.
Brian hasn't did anything for him. The only thing he has done was cases of diapers and 2 outfits when he was a newborn.
And the child is 1 year old?
Yes, and he watched him while I was at work for a couple of times. It's not enough of a month full of Sundays.
Hold the phone. Did he just say that? The court digs into the nitty-gritty of what supporting a child really means, beyond just throwing cash at the problem. Mr. Williams and Miss Vaughn can't even agree on the basics.
I've done much more than that.
It is true.
One, you can't put a price on how much a man can child.
Yes, you can.
No, you cannot.
Mr. Williams, you saying you have supported this child. You're also saying now, I've supported him, but he's not mine.
Yes, I did, because it was
right.
based on a love and that I was being married to Miss Vaughn.
Yikes, that's gotta sting. Sean, the bystander in this soap opera, shares some juicy campus gossip about Miss Vaughn's fidelity, stirring doubts about Connor's paternity long before the wedding bells rang.
Brian, defending her honor after campus, let him know that was not his baby.
Brian knows that he's Connor's father.
I didn't even know her. I didn't meet her.
You say people telling you she was promiscuous and she was having sex with other people and the child may not be yours?
Because I did disclaim that at point she was putting me in the doghouse, so it gave me time to not be with her.
Whoa, plot twist. Mr. Williams suspects a high roller sugar daddy is lurking in the shadows, dishing out more support than he ever did. The courtroom's heating up with tales of secret benefactors and denied responsibilities.
Mr. Williams' court paper, he alludes to the fact that he thinks you have a sugar daddy. What is this all about?
He is one of my childhood friends, and when I called and I was not taking care of his responsibilities, when I was short on a couple of things and I couldn't call and ask Brian for it, he made sure he has never once said that he was Connor's father. He's always trying to get Brian to step up to the plate and be a father.
Hold up, did you catch that? Amidst this circus, proof surfaces of Miss Vaughn cozying up to Papa Bear on Facebook, hinting he might be more than just a friend. The stakes are high, and the next revelation might just topple everything.
Who is this person?
It's her Papa Bear.
Papa Bear. Bear?
Yes.
How do you know that?
I've retrieved evidence from her Facebook account.
And you say she calls him Papa Bear. This is an exchange between Ms. Vaughn and Papa Bear. Ms. Vaughn says, I think he should get a DNA test. And then Papa Bear says, see?
Didn't see that coming. Amidst the chaos, Miss Vaughn drops the bomb. She's been more than friends with Papa Bear. As the truth spills, the court's about to reel from the aftershocks.
Have you been intimate with Papa Bear?
We are in an intimate relationship.
Oh, you are in an intimate relationship.
But she's still married.
Oh, where's that?
You get it from your mama.
No, you get your behavior from your mother.
But we've
you
never
all
been
don't
on
know
31st
anything.
Street.
Let's get it correct,
Hold
sir.
on.
Can you handle more? As Miss Vaughn lays out the hefty price tag of raising Connor alone, Mr. Williams defends his patchy support. Money's flying, accusations are swirling, and the tension's through the roof. What comes next? You guessed it, more fireworks.
Do you have any evidence that you brought to court to validate those expenses? So these are the receipts for child care.
Yes, for, his daddy's last name.
All right, so this is 3 months of child care.
And I get no government assistance, so it's straight cash.
That you having to pay child, able to go to child care, presumably so you can go to work or whatever you have to do.
And now, the moment of truth. The court's on edge as the DNA results are about to drop. Will Mr. Williams really be the father, or has this been a wild goose chase? The answer's coming up, and it's going to shake things up.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Williams, you are the father.
Pay the lady. Pay the lady.
Can you believe this opener? Ms. Marks McGee opens her case, claiming Mr. Wright is the biological father of her son Amari. She's really laying it on thick, insisting Mr. Wright hasn't stepped up for their 2-year-old.
Ms. Marks McGee, you say the defendant needs to step up and take responsibility for 2-year-old son Amari because you know he is your son's biological father.
You've got to hear this. Mr. Wright fires back, suggesting Ms. Marks McGee kept her pregnancy a secret from him initially and doubts he's the father. He thinks she's pinning paternity on him because another man bolted.
You claim Ms. Marks McGee didn't tell you about her baby until he was 3 weeks old, and you know you are not the father.
This twist is juicy. The judge digs into their relationship backstory. Ms. Marks McGee admits it started as a rebound fling, but soon Mr. Wright was moving in, doing chores, and playing house.
The nature of our relationship was he was really just supposed to be something for me to get over someone else, but things went further than what they were supposed to go.
Oh, he was first just a convenient distraction.
In my mind, yes.
This is a doozy. Ms. Marks McGee passionately defends her claim that Mr. Wright is definitely the daddy, given he was her only partner around conception time. Stick around, the plot thickens.
He's a very wonderful man. He really is. And I fell in love with him too, so I call it a lost love triangle that I was caught in. However, I know for a fact that Mr. Wright is Amari's dad, because he was the only man I was sleeping with around the time of conception.
Hold on to your seats. Mr. Wright talks about his vulnerability when he first shacked up with Ms. Marks McGee. It was supposed to be a temporary roof over his head, but turned into something more.
I was vulnerable.
You were vulnerable.
I was vulnerable. I had left for a minute and came back, when I came back here and met her, what I'm saying, I really didn't have anything.
You had a place in your life where you needed.
I guess you could say that.
Was it a relationship or was it I'm just gonna stay here for a while? What?
Yes, it was a relationship.
Didn't see that coming. A curveball comes when Ms. Marks McGee confesses she fibbed about being pregnant before, more than once. It's turned Mr. Wright into a skeptic. The surprises aren't stopping yet.
So what was the issue? You kept thinking you were pregnant or you weren't?
No, I thought I was pregnant one time. I really found out that I was pregnant. I wasn't feeling myself. I know how when I'm pregnant, I'm a female. I've had a child before. I've had kids. When the time came, we were moving out of our apartment October 1st. I took a test and it was positive, and I told him from his social media that I didn't like.
This is a head scratcher. Mr. Wright shares his deep doubts about being Amari's father, overwhelmed by the sea of lies that seems to surround their relationship. The truth is just around the corner.
You have sincere doubt, Mr. Wright.
Yes.
You truly don't know.
I don't know at all. It's too many lies. It's just too many lies surrounding this whole situation. You know about how a female got a little girl code, right? How you could look at your friend and you could tell a whole paragraph just by doing this. You know what I mean,
That's
right?
how we do?
Look how you looking right now. You
We
telling
really can't do this.
You'll get a kick out of this. Mr. Wright describes a sneaky move where he impersonated Ms. Marks McGee, texting her friend to test her loyalty, which only confused him more when the friend suggested there might be another man.
You could being around enough of that, you could pick up on it sooner or later. There's actually one instance I acted as if I was her, texting a friend.
You text from your phone or you text from her phone?
I text from her phone. Like, what's going on? What she got going on the phone? So when I finally had a chance to grab it, I went ahead and texted a friend. Texted one of the friends on her phone.
You text one of the friends that she has girl code with.
Yes.
This is eyebrow raising. Mr. Wright struggles to see any resemblance between himself and Amari, which fuels his paternity doubts despite the bond they've built. Wait till you see what happens next.
I don't think Amari's mine at all.
You don't?
No, man.
Tell me why.
If you want to first, you could bring up, like, I don't see me in him, like, that. He doesn't look at all like me. It was just too much going on. She was messing with some other guy, you know. I just don't feel like none of this add up. I tried to reconcile and, you know what I'm saying, try to be around. He would disappear all the time, and I couldn't find it.
Get ready for a bombshell.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Wright, you are not his father.
Can you handle the suspense? Anna Payne steps up with a major claim, alleging Mr. Yates is her biological father, and she's here to prove it once and for all. Mr. Yates, totally taken aback, learned about Anna's existence only 4 years ago and is seriously doubting the whole situation. As they square off in court, everyone's on the edge of their seats, waiting to see how the truth unfolds.
Ms. Anna Payne, after years of searching for your father, you have defended Mr. Yates court today to prove once and for all that he is your biological father. Mr. Yates, you say that you were completely cited by allegations that Anna was your daughter only 4 years ago. Serious doubt fathered her 20 years ago.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more dramatic. At a tender age of 9, Anna's world turned topsy-turvy when her mom dropped a bombshell. The man she thought was her dad wasn't. Instead, her actual dad was apparently some guy in Alabama, whereabouts unknown. As Anna tries to piece together her fractured family history, you won't believe the curveballs coming up next.
I was 9 years old. I was in the living room watching cartoons or with toys or something, and my mom told me to come outside. I figured we were going outside to play, and when we were walking around the front yard, I said, well, I have some news. Well, my ex-husband is not your dad. And I was like, well, what do you mean? She said, he's not your biological dad. And I asked her who my dad was, and she told me his name, and she said, I don't know why it matters, because he's not what you're gonna expect.
You're not going to believe this twist. Mr. Yates recounts the jaw-dropping moment he got slapped with a child support summons out of the blue while at work. This was the spark that lit the fuse, leading him into a whirlwind of legal and emotional turmoil, all culminating in today's paternity showdown.
I have here a summons for child support 4 years ago.
Let me see that evidence. Jerome, will you hand that to me? So you're saying you received a summons?
Your Honor, I was at work and Mobile County Sheriff's Department showed up at my job calling me to the side to talk about the summons, telling me I had to appear in court.
Just 4 years ago?
Yes, ma'am.
Before that, you had absolutely no clue.
No, Your Honor.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. In a plot twist worthy of a soap opera, Ms. Payne counters Mr. Yates' claim of ignorance about Anna's pregnancy, insisting he was right there in the clinic when she found out. The room is spinning with different versions of their past, each more conflicting than the last.
He would drive us down to the place where I found out I was pregnant. He was in there with me when I found out.
So you went to a clinic, a facility to find out if you were, he went there with you?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't remember that, Mr. Yates?
Your Honor, I have 5 children. I've been to the doctor every time they've had ultrasound. I wouldn't have skipped out on this if I'd have known.
Did he believe Miss Payne at the time? Father, did you tell him it's your baby?
Yes, ma'am.
This is where it gets really juicy. A glaring court error comes to light, showing that Anna and Ms. Payne missed their DNA test appointment, casting a shadow of doubt over their claims. This snafu adds another layer of mystery and confusion to the already tangled narrative.
So here is a failure to appear for a DNA test. The box that's checked is respondent not appearing. And Anna weren't there. Do you remember this action, Ms. Payne?
I remember getting the notice, but I don't remember if we didn't have a way or what happened while we didn't make it.
So you do remember that it was supposed to happen, but you can't remember why you did.
It was either I didn't have a way or I forgot about the appointment.
Grab your tissues because here it comes.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Payne, you are her father.
All right, we're staying with Eric. All right, so I walk in there. What do I see? Lemon drops. Lemon drops laid out everywhere. I ain't talking about no candy.
Shot lying on the table.
Check it out. She told me about the beer. So when you picked me up, why didn't you fair warn me?
You had a girlfriend.
She knew about it. We were friends. She trusts me. I'm not like that.
And you called me with his friend telling me that he was there 3 weeks and you guys were having sex and blah, blah, blah. At first I did believe that. But then I heard his story and none of that. Shut up, I am talking.
Nobody's picking up the phone. I'm walking all around.
So what about when you disappear for days at a time?
I don't disappear. I go to work.
Yes, you do. Every day when you leave out there, your phone not even on. Call while you at work. Then you would know where your son was at. You don't know. Find out at the end of the day.
I just told you where my son was at.
Buckle up for a wild ride. Mr. Buchanan kicks things off with a bombshell, revealing this isn't his first rodeo questioning paternity. He's up to bat again, doubting whether Miss Timberidge's 6-month-old daughter is really his. He's got trust issues galore after past false claims, and now suspects his girlfriend has been too cozy with others, including his former best bud. Stay tuned, the drama ramps up next.
Woman has claimed you are her child's
child's father? First 2 times, DNA testing proved you were not. And you now doubt your girlfriend, Miss Stembridge's 6-month-old daughter, is yours. She is engaged in sexual affairs outside of the relationship, including with your former friend and roommate.
Here comes the soap opera twist. During a seemingly normal day, a store trip turns into a showdown when Eric, Mr. Buchanan's best friend, drunkenly blurts out that he's been with Miss Stembridge. This shocking claim throws a grenade into the already fragile trust between Mr. Buchanan and his girlfriend, leading to accusations flying faster than a speeding bullet. Brace yourself. It spirals even more out of control up ahead.
One day, this is like...
And Eric is your...
supposed best friend.
Supposed best friend, so you get into a confrontation.
We took Eric up to the door. He was in the back seat already drunk. I mean, why are you getting him beer? You know what I'm saying?
He could have got it himself, Your Honor.
I mean,
got into an argument over the beer?
So you're best friends with him then, obviously, if you went in there. But anyways.
You can't make this stuff up. After getting out of the clink, Mr. Buchanan finds himself at the center of a boozy betrayal. Homecoming wasn't sweet with evidence of lemon drops, a drink apparently loaded with more significance than vitamin C. These lemon drops hint at naughty escapades between Miss Stembridge and Eric, making Mr. Buchanan's head spin with betrayal. What's next? Even more jaw-dropping revelations.
All right, so I walk in there. What do I see? Lemon drops. Lemon drops laid out everywhere. I ain't talking about no candy. Check it out. She told me about the beer. So when you picked me up, why didn't you fair warn me when I got home? Why are you gonna let me find out by myself? Because you forgot.
I didn't forget too much. It was still there, weren't it?
Grab your popcorn, folks. Miss McNeil steps into the courtroom with gossip that could fuel a reality TV show for seasons. She claims to have caught Miss Stembridge in quite the compromising position. This bombshell adds yet another layer of scandal to an already sizzling situation. What will the next turn reveal in this tangled web of drama?
Says that you witnessed firsthand some
did.
inappropriate behavior.
Yeah.
That was not going on, Your Honor.
When I walked in, all I saw was booty in the air.
Things just got real. The plot thickens with a pregnancy test that's positive, sparking a mix of hope and horror in Mr. Buchanan. He's torn between love for the child and lingering doubts about whose genes are swimming in the little one's DNA. They head for a DNA test that could either tie them together or blow their fragile world apart. Next up, the moment of truth.
We take a pregnancy test because Judge talking about she late. I ain't bleed, I'm late, all right? So we took a pregnancy test. Not like positive isn't like good job. Positive isn't like there's something growing in there. That's why I'm denying that little girl, man.
It's the grand finale, folks. The results are in, and the courtroom holds its breath.
Mr. Buchanan, you are.
Thank you.
That's a blessing.
Just when you thought it was a regular day in court, Mr. Hardy swings in with full confidence, declaring he's the real father of Taylor, following a jaw-dropping revelation that another dude totally wasn't. He lays out his unshakable belief and the emotional roller coaster it's been, especially after Taylor got wind from her stepmom that there might be a paternity mix-up. Strap in, the drama ramps up from here.
Mr. Hardy, you are here to prove what you have always known. You fathered the defendant's 26-year-old daughter, Taylor. You say your belief proven to be true after Taylor learned another man was not her biological dad in this courtroom.
Come to me and asked me if he was her dad because she said her mother told her that he was not.
How old were you then?
12, 13.
Just when the audience catches their breath, bam, the court drops the bomb that Mr. Jennings is not the father, sparking a wildfire of tension. Ms. Lynn throws shade, calling Mr. Hardy a master of manipulation. While he stands his ground, claiming his fatherly role, Ms. Lynn hints at another possible dad, stirring the pot even more. You'll want to stick around. The twists get twistier.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jennings, you are not the father. Mr. Hardy, you say Ms. Lynn is a master manipulator who has stopped you from being a daddy to your little girl. Claim the plaintiff is not Taylor's biological father, and you intend to prove that
There's a possibility between him and one other person.
In a twist that could make a soap opera blush, Mr. Hardy reminisces about the early days of doubt when Ms. Lynn first announced her pregnancy. Despite feeling sidelined by her family, he recounts his undying efforts to be in Taylor's life, showcasing his commitment against all odds. What unfolds next? More juicy details, of course.
The second time she told me she was pregnant, I doubted it because she had already said she was pregnant before.
So you were told she was pregnant before?
Yes, but she wasn't pregnant that time. So I had my doubts the second time she told me she was pregnant. Believe it until I seen for myself that she was pregnant.
Were you there?
Not
Nope.
at all.
Her parents did everything they could to keep us apart. From the time Taylor was about 9 years of age, I didn't get to see her.
Here's where it gets spicy. Amidst Thanksgiving turkey and pies, Taylor gets skeptical about who her real real daddy is and decides to turn detective, she dives into a personal quest to uncover her biological roots, ending up sending a direct Facebook SOS to Mr. Hardy. The emotional ante is up, and the next chapter is a doozy.
So how did you find that he might be your biological father?
Maybe I was 23, right around there. I had asked my mom, my boyfriend had mentioned that I looked like it. She didn't want to talk about it, and she locked herself in her back room because Thanksgiving's not the time to talk about it, you know? And then so I was just like, well, I'm going to take it upon myself, get in touch with people that was her friends.
Reached out to him and you submitted a message to the court.
Yes.
The courtroom's heating up with explosive confessions and accusations flying faster than a reality TV reunion. Each party is at the edge, grappling with the heavy implications of who knew what about Taylor's real dad. Grab your popcorn. The emotional fireworks are just getting started.
At this point in time, I was led to believe that she knew I was her father and that she didn't want to
So
deal
when
with
you
me.
got the message, you were surprised that she was even in a search.
And you're a damn lie, because I have never once told you that I sat down and told her you were her father. Not once.
You disagree with that, Mr. Hardy?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I was kept away from her. Brandy would move place. There would be years at a time I wouldn't even know where to find her at.
As if the plot needed more thickening, enter Mr. Bryant, another contender for the title of Taylor's bio dad. His arrival throws another curveball into the already muddled paternity mystery, layering on the emotional complexity like a fine dip. The saga continues, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's next.
First day, you had sex with Mr. Jennings. Day 2, Mr. Hardy. Next day, day 3, your doctor had given you a 4-day window of conception.
Yep.
So there is another man who could very possibly be your daughter's biological father. How did you find out about him?
The last time I appeared here, then I asked her what his name was, and I looked him up on Facebook.
Because you don't believe Mr. Bryant.
Yes, I don't think I look like him.
You don't think you look like him. You know him?
I've met him twice.
Just when you think you figured it all out, Mr. Bryant steps up to the plate, swinging with claims that he might be Taylor's pops because, guess what? They kind of look alike. His heartfelt belief stirs up all the feels, spotlighting decades of emotional baggage.
Thank you for joining us today. We are here discussing the paternity thing. This beautiful young woman, Taylor. We've been told that you are a potential biological father. Do you believe you are her biological father?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell the court why.
Because she's got so much resemblance of my daughter. I've been believing it for 26 years. It's time to get it over with, you know.
So for 26 years, you've had this in your heart.
Yes, ma'am.
It's just waiting to be unpacked. The DNA reveal is on the horizon, and it's going to be a blockbuster moment.
It has been determined by this court. Taylor's biological father is Mr. Bryant.
Yes! Yes, I told you!
Fasten your seatbelts. You're not going to believe this. Mr. Webb asserts that he has never been intimate with Ms. Cole, which provokes a strong reaction from the audience. Ms. Cole and her supporters immediately dispute his claim, calling him a liar. The judge expresses surprise, highlighting how unusual it is to hear such a defense. Buckle up, because this roller coaster is just getting started.
I never had sex with her, Your Honor.
Well, that would rule you out. You've never had sex with her?
No.
Yeah, he did.
She's a liar. She's crazy.
We've heard a lot of defenses in this courtroom. Rarely have we ever heard that you've never had sex with her.
She's absolutely crazy.
This next bit is a real doozy. Ms. Cole details a specific instance, claiming that on April 11th, Mr. Webb stayed in her bed and they had intimate violence relations, which she believes led to the conception of her daughter. Mr. Webb continues to deny these claims, asserting that their relationship was purely platonic and that he never slept in her bed. A heated argument ensues, with both parties contradicting each other's stories. Hang on tight, the saga continues.
And I know he stayed with me for 2 months, and he slept in my bed with me for 1 night, and we had sex. April 11th.
That's when you believe you conceived your daughter?
Yeah.
What's the nature of your relationship?
We never had sex or anything. We were just friends. We would chill out. That was it.
You were never intimate with her in any way?
I never stayed in her bedroom. I stayed out on the couch.
That's a lie.
And on top of that, I was only there for a week and a half.
Strap in for more chaos. Ms. Cole and Mr. Webb argue about the nature of his stay at her place, with Ms. Cole asserting that he lived with her for a month and a half, while Mr. Webb insists it was only for a week. The judge attempts to restore order as the argument escalates. Tensions rise as accusations fly back and forth about the nature and duration of Mr. Webb's stay. Just when you think it can't get any wilder, it does.
I wasn't living there. We were hanging out for a week and a half. And on top of that, April 8th, I had moved back to Detroit. How was I there for 3 months?
But why were you staying there with them for a week? You had a girlfriend.
She knew about it. We were friends. She trusts me. I'm not like that.
And you called me with his friend telling me that he was there 3 weeks and you guys were having sex and blah, blah, blah. At first I did believe that. But then I heard his story and none of it. Shut up, I am talking.
Fasten your seatbelts. Here's a curveball. curveball. Mr. Webb presents a series of messages to the judge that he claims will prove his non-involvement with Ms. Cole. He describes the initial contact and the subsequent messages that escalated to accusations of paternity. The conversation in the messages revolves around the pregnancy and Ms. Cole's claims of Mr. Webb being the father. The next part is a real jaw-dropper.
How this went, the first message, she messaged me saying, hey, I got an ultrasound. I said, okay, can we leave it at Tasha? It's not my baby. I'm trying to do right in my life, and this is not doing either of us any good. So just at this point, I'm thinking, I feel like she's trying to say that I'm the baby daddy, but just hinting, not actually saying. What came next? I told her, I said, I'm not trying to be mean. I just want this to end. Because I'm not a mean person. I'm not a hateful person.
Next up, another whopper. Ms. Cole acknowledges there was another potential father involved around the time of conception. She explains the situation to the judge, including how the due date changes influenced her certainty about the paternity. The judge reviews a calendar submitted by Ms. Cole that outlines the timeline of her interactions with Mr. Webb and the other man. Wait until you hear what comes next.
As soon as I took the pregnancy test, immediately texted him and called the other guy, and I took both of them for certain that the other guy was the dad until my due date got changed. It went from February 22nd to January 28th.
That is the date you were intimate with Mr. Webb, on the 11th of April.
Yeah, my conception was...
The window of conception is in blue, so that's the week prior to the 11th.
This will crack you up. In a dramatic revelation, Ms. Cole makes a crass remark about Mr. Webb's anatomy to assert her familiarity with him, which is met with mixed reactions from the audience. Her claim is meant to prove intimacy, but it only adds tension and ridicule to the proceedings. The judge struggles to maintain decorum as the court reacts to the inappropriate comment. Get ready for the climax. It's a hoot.
She was dark up until she was
born.
She lightened up.
Can't even.
And this picture is to show what exactly?
That baby don't look nothing like.
So you're saying there's absolutely no resemblance?
Absolutely.
That baby's just straight white.
I ain't white, I'm brown.
Yes, he is. He's Puerto Rican and Indian. Yeah, he's brown.
You see my skin color? Are you blind?
You've seen his body, so you know he
somebody
is
get this
brown.
girl some glasses.
We know that children come in all colors. Moving on. Mr. Webb, you are not father.
Yeah.
Strap in, because this one's a doozy. Mr. Pitchford Kendricks kicks off the proceedings with a bombshell, asserting that he is indeed the biological father of the defendant's 2-month-old son, Javier. He suspects that the paternity denial is simply because the mother wants to be with another man, hoping to convince him to take up the father role. This moment lays the groundwork for what promises to be a roller coaster of emotions and accusations. And trust me, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Opened your case to prove are the biological father of the 2-month-old son. You claim she is denying paternity only because she wants to be with another man and needs to be the father.
Yes, Your Honor. Just when you think you've heard it all, Ms. Saavedra throws a curveball by admitting to a menage a trois that included Mr. Pitchford Kendricks, but remains steadfast in her belief he is not Javier's dad. Her firm denial amidst such a tangled web of bedtime stories highlights the complicated personal entanglements at play. Buckle up, because the emotional whirlwind is just picking up speed.
Ms. Saavedra, you admit you allowed 2 men into your bed at the same time, but you are convinced that Mr. Pitchford Kendricks is not Javier's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You'll want to grab some tissues for this one. An emotional Mr. Pitchford Kendricks shares his poignant backstory of growing up without a father in Detroit, driven by a resolve to ensure his son doesn't endure the same fate. His heartfelt testimony not only tugs at the heartstrings, but also sets high personal stakes in his quest for paternity truth. And just when you think it can't get more heartfelt, the courtroom is about to turn up the heat.
Well, Your Honor, I grew up in the streets of Detroit, no dad in my life, and I just want to make sure my son doesn't have to grow up.
That's a beautiful basket there. You brought that for your son. You say you grew up without your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me what that was like growing up, your dad.
It was kind of stressful being in school and seeing my classmates and stuff, having their parents come up there, both of them.
Twists and turns are the flavors of the day. The plot thickens as we learn that Ms. Saavedra and the man she believes is Javier's real dad decided to spice up their rocky relationship by inviting Mr. Pitchford Kendricks into the mix. The revelation of their adventurous bedroom escapades adds layers of complexity to the paternity puzzle, proving that this is no ordinary paternity case. Hold on, because the next revelation is a real kicker.
Me and the man that I believe is Javier's father, Maurice, was getting rocky. Decided to include Greg, our mix, and try and spice things up.
So how often was that happen?
It happened
off and on for like 10 years.
What?
You might need a flowchart for this one. Mr. Pitchford Kendricks delves deep into the backstory, explaining how he originally connected Ms. Saavedra with his cousin, which spiraled into a decade of on and off romantic entanglements and threesomes. This tangled tale of relationships gone wild complicates the paternity question even further, painting a picture of a very complicated love web. And believe it or not, it's about to get even wilder.
Well, a half cousin of mine.
A half cousin?
Yeah, He my cousin's cousin.
You were dating a woman, you ended up sleeping with her roommate. You developed a friendship with that roommate, and then she asked you to introduce her to somebody, so you introduced her to your cousin. Her and your cousin invited you into their bed threesome when their relationship needed spicing up.
Here's where it gets spicy. In a critical twist, Mrs. Saavedra pinpoints the night she believes Javier was conceived, linking it to an unprotected liaison during a tumultuous time in her primary relationship. This key moment is crucial for untangling the convoluted timeline of events and may just be the clue to solving the paternity mystery. Fasten your seatbelts, because the courtroom drama is about to explode.
I think Javier was conceived because that's when the unprotected happened. Like the times we had threesomes, I was trying to reach him, you know what I'm saying? So, and wear a condom, but I kind of liked it her from the first time I had seen her and stuff, so.
So what are you saying? So when you had the threesomes with your cousin and her, you would wear a condom?
Yeah, for respect for him.
Because that's respect.
The plot thickens, and so does the tension. Ms. Saavedra reaches out to Maurice, her primary partner, upon discovering her pregnancy, setting off a chain of confrontations and accusations about who the real father could be. This segment is a roller coaster of emotions, highlighting the strain and turmoil that paternity uncertainty can wreak on personal relationships. And just when you think it can't get more intense, the next chapter adds even more fuel to the fire.
I contacted Maurice, told him I was pregnant.
Contact the guy that really was your boyfriend. So when you told him you were pregnant, did he say, it's not my baby, it's Mr. Kendrick?
He didn't say anything to the degree at the time. We talked about it later on.
Afterwards, he called me trying to act like, these your babies over here, dog. I'm telling you when I see you on, man. You got me over here taking care of your babies. Cause between both of the babies, like before her first baby was born, that's when the threesome started.
Grab your popcorn, folks. The judge steps in with a conception calculator, attempting to scientifically determine the likely window of Javier's conception amidst the chaos of conflicting testimonies and convoluted personal narratives. This attempt to inject some scientific rationality into the proceedings underscores the court's effort to cut through the emotional fog with some hard facts, and you won't believe what comes next.
Conception calculator, because you all just over the place. So Javier's birthday is January 9th, 2019. Conception window is between 12th and April 18th.
That's not when he was due. He was born early. He was due January 26th.
We was having threesomes.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Pitchford Kendrick, you are not the father.
Can you believe what we're seeing here? Miss Brooks is clearly upset as Mr. Page denies paternity of their son, Ivian, after planning to have this child together. She vividly describes how Mr. Page, a younger man, swept her off her feet following her previous long-term relationship. However, he is now questioning the child's paternity, accusing Miss Brooks of an affair with another man, Tony Wilson. Grab your popcorn, because this is just the start of the drama.
Ms. Brooks, you state, after getting out of a 9-year relationship, you fell in love with Mr. Page, a younger man who you say swept you off your feet. You claim both you and Mr. Page planned to have a child together, but since giving birth to your son, Ivian, Mr. Page is now denying the child you so desperately wanted to have.
Yes, Your Honor.
What's he thinking? Mr. Page is adamant that he isn't Ivian's father, blaming Miss Brooks' frequent outings with Mr. Wilson. His frustration is palpable as he details his work schedule and his growing suspicions about her loyalty due to her evasive behavior and social escapades. The pot is about to boil over, so stick around.
Mr. Page, you state you know the child isn't yours. Ms. Brooks was having an ongoing of another man by the name of Wilson.
Yes.
You say Mr. Wilson, who is also here today to be the father of her son and has even posted pic on social media. Fact.
Yes, sir.
This just keeps getting thicker. Alongside the paternity mess, Miss Brooks and Mr. Page dive into other boiling issues in their relationship. Mr. Page throws in complaints about Miss Brooks' handling of money, painting a picture of financial chaos and mismatched expectations that have been straining their life together. We'll want to see what happens next. Things are getting spicy.
It stimulates from the paternity issues, because at first, when we first got together, it was lovely. When I first was pregnant, he did everything. He was there. He was good, like during the pregnancy, and then everything changed. I think it has a lot to do with
No, everything ain't changed, John. What changed is her coming home at night with her and my son being around Mr. Wilson, her friend.
Did that really just happen? As Mr. Page airs his doubts, he points to the supposed timeline of his relationship with Miss Brooks, suspecting infidelity during the conception period. He brings up a social media post by Mr. Wilson that suggests a much closer relationship with both Ivian and Miss Brooks, intensifying his doubts. The next revelation is a doozy. Don't miss it.
So you feel like she was cheating on you sometime during the window of conception.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
me about that doubt.
She knew Black longer than she knew me, so they've been messing around or whatever they've been doing. I know Black's Facebook page is dedicated just to her and my son. And I have evidence right here saying that.
That is just my friend. We take
Tell me if that looks like a relationship or a friendship.
Buckle up, this ride is getting wilder. The courtroom scrutinizes photos and social media updates that show Mr. Wilson with Ivian, implying he's more than just a friend. Mr. Page sees these as confirmation of his suspicion about the nature of the relationship between Miss Brooks and Mr. Wilson. Wait till you see what comes out of the woodwork next.
These are all photos of you.
All dedicated to
Mr. Wilson. That's the baby in there?
That's just a picture of me and them.
It's one of his file pictures.
Yes, I'm the best thing that's...
I mean, look at that.
And then that's Mr. Wilson, Ivian.
He is really upset because...
How's he been there?
Because you're not.
With him. Milk, I buy what I got.
When you're not there, he is there. Mr. Page does things, but he does the bare minimum.
You thought it couldn't get more heated? During a fiery exchange, Miss Brooks and Mr. Page go head-to-head over her interactions with Mr. Wilson. He accuses her of neglect, while she argues that Mr. Wilson has been a pillar of support. Things are about to get even more heated. Keep watching, because the gloves are coming off.
Mr. Wilson walks around my son. He does not let it be known that he's not the father. He does not let it be known that he's the father.
But how is that my fault?
He's his. You're right with him. What do you
How is that my fault? No, and you don't feel about that. And I'm talking to you. Your Honor, right now.
And he's walking around telling them they're having sex.
Who's he telling this to?
Mr. Wilson does go around saying that he had sex with me. I did not know that. I recently found out.
I heard it from her.
Of course, I did, because
and they're
I'm
still
upset about
best friends.
this. Because
just when you think you've seen it all, Mr. Wilson steps up, testifying about his godfather-like relationship with Ivian and insisting he hasn't crossed any lines despite Mr. Page's accusations. His testimony could change everything. Keep your eyes peeled, because this is a pivotal moment.
Please describe for the court your relationship with Ms. Brooks.
Oh, we're still best friends. One of the fellas. That's my homie, except for she's female.
What is your relationship like with her son?
I'll be honest, that's my godson. I love him. On my lunch breaks, I stop past Sam. I spend time with him, take him to the park. How would that be allowed? You never there. You too busy playing the game, chilling with your homeboys and friends.
You won't believe this twist. The spotlight turns to Mr. Page's frequent absences and his alleged lack of involvement with Ivian. Miss Brooks accuses him of minimal participation, which he defends by citing his job demands and limited time. Climax is coming up, and it promises to shake things up significantly.
Every time I go to work, my son go over his house. One night I was calling him from my job, but once I get off, I can't get a hold of him. When I get to the house, my son is not there, she's not there, nobody's picking up the phone, I'm walking all around.
So what about when you disappear for days at a time?
I don't disappear, I go to work.
Yes, you do. Every day when you leave out there, your phone not even on. Call while you at work, then you would know where your son was at. You don't know, find out at the end of the day.
I just told you where my son was at.
Here comes the moment of truth.
It has been determined by this court. You are not the father.
Told you. Told you.
Hold on to your seats. Mr. Kennedy makes a theatrical entrance claiming he's dragged into court despite being a good guy, just to prove he's not the father of Ms. Pope's 3-month-old son, Christian. He's adamant about his innocence in this baby drama. Ms. Pope and her mother are visibly frustrated, insisting Mr. Kennedy owns up since he played a part in the baby-making process. Mr. Kennedy throws a curveball, suggesting Ms. Pope might just be looking for a scapegoat for her baby daddy woes. And just when you think it's all simmering down, the pot's about to boil over in the next segment.
Mr. Kennedy, you claim to be a nice guy who was to make the tough decision to drag the defendant to court, prove you did not father her 3-month-old son, Christian.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Pope, you and your mother are that Mr. Kennedy denies paternity and refuse to acknowledge your child. You say he laid down with you and now he has up and paid.
Yes, Your Honor.
You won't believe this. The plot thickens as they unpack the friends with benefits set up that never had any strings attached, or so Mr. Kennedy claims. Ms. Pope airs out some dirty laundry, revealing Mr. Kennedy wasn't the Prince Charming he initially seemed to be. Fast forward, where he accuses her of not being over her ex, tossing another spicy meatball into the mix. Buckle up, because the revelations just keep rolling out.
No, we never did. It never had a chance to take off. We did get along in the beginning. He was a jerk, and I no longer wanted to be around that.
Why were you sleeping with him if he was a jerk?
He came off as an all-American guy in the beginning. We had a lot of things in common. We had the same football team.
That's enough to sleep with somebody, birthday and a football team. The bottom line is you all got along in the beginning.
The stakes are getting higher. Mr. Kennedy confesses he started ghosting Ms. Pope right when she needed him most, post-pregnancy announcement. He's backpedaling, recalling the murky details of the pregnancy news peppered with mentions of other potential daddies. Grab your popcorn, because the drama unfolds even more in the next chapter.
I found out that I was pregnant at 6 weeks, a cutie one morning, and threw it up at work. I put the 2 and 2 together. It wasn't rocket science, and I knew that I was pregnant.
And Mr. Kennedy, do you remember when she told you she was pregnant?
Told me around May or June or July. At that point, she had said there were 2 other gentlemen, and I had asked her, could it potentially potentially be mine? And she said, no, you're in the clear. So
things take a turn for the digital, where a Facebook message becomes Exhibit A. Ms. Pope had pinged Mr. Kennedy with a baby pic, which sparks a whole new level of paternity paranoia. As the judge scrolls through the messages, the courtroom feels more like a soap opera set. Don't touch that dial. The next moments are guaranteed to amp up the drama.
She tell you were the father?
Through Facebook, I got messages.
It is your testimony that she did not tell you, she didn't tell you anything about the pregnancy, anything. You didn't hear from her until the baby was born.
Yes,
I had messaged him the night
and you
that I
get
went into
some
labor.
message. I've been trying to get a hold of you. I want to call you and talk. Reply about. She replies, would you like to guess?
Cue the violins as Mr. Kennedy reflects on his personal visit to see the baby, searching for any sign of a family resemblance. He pledges his commitment to fatherhood, assuming the DNA stars align. Ms. Pope calls him out for his lackluster dad vibes, to which he retorts with tales of mixed signals. The emotional roller coaster is just getting started, so stay tuned for the climactic close.
6-hour trip out of my day to go up and actually see the child with my own eyes, just to make sure she was being truthful. I didn't get anything until after the child was born. For a while, trying to gather, anything, any kind of quirks that might relate him to myself or my other, find any similarities between him and I, and that was basically it. Went up mainly just to see the baby from my own eyes, just to make sure that this wasn't a ruse of some sort.
As they lay out their final arguments, both sides are throwing everything but the kitchen sink into the ring. Mr. Kennedy is all in for a paternity test, while Ms. Pope paints a picture of a roller coaster relationship ride. The judge sums up the saga, setting us up for a DNA result that promises to be a game changer. The suspense is real, folks.
And Ms. Pope, as much as I understand if he is not biological father, do you know where the other two gentlemen are?
Yes, Your Honor.
And would they want to be a part of Christian's life? Would they put themselves available to testing so that we can get this confirmed once and for all for this beautiful baby? It has been determined by this court. Mr. Kennedy, you are the father.
So he picks me up in the stolo. I'm getting dressed or whatnot. Looking out the window, he like, yeah, boo, I'm out. Next thing you know, here come the police like, freeze, get out the car. I'm like, really? You came to pick me up in the stolen car?
I left school 2 miles to a family's home, knocked on their door, no answer. Looked through the peephole, shadows moving all around.
No.
Tiptoeing towards the door. So I parked myself on that concrete, stayed in here 4 or 5 hours till they had to come out.
Everybody's running out the house, and I caught a guy over there one time. I knocked on the door. She's trying to hide a dude in the bathroom. Multiple occasions.
It was not multiple occasions.
Guys.
You only seen one.
I only seen it one time, but everybody tell me.
You're not gonna believe this one. Miss Tori steps up with a zinger, accusing Mr. Goodson of bailing on being the dad to her 2 ankle biters. While Miss Henderson isn't having any of it either, claiming he's dodging daddy duties for her 4-year-old tyke too. They're both gunning for DNA tests and some wallet opening from Mr. Goodson. The courtroom's heating up with all these spicy accusations. Buckle up, there's more drama ahead.
Ms. Tori claimed the defendant is denying he is father of your 2 kids. And Ms. Henderson, you state Mr. Goodson refuses to take responsibility for your old daughter. You have both asked the court to award paternity tests and enforce his financial obligation as a father.
Check out this curveball. Mr. Goodson throws a soft pitch, hoping the tests prove he's the papa, despite rumors he's been playing the field. And Miss Henderson, she's calling foul, saying the player might have hit a home run with her and his cousin around the same bases. This tangled love triangle's got more twists than a pretzel factory, and it's only getting twistier from here.
Additionally, you state Ms. Henderson slept with you and your cousin in the same time frame, and therefore you can be sure
which was a lie.
Her daughter is yours.
My story is that I went on a chat line one day. I met his cousin on the chat line. He know that was just looking for someone to hang out with on, a regular basis.
Oh boy, grab your popcorn. So Miss Henderson spills the beans about a date gone wild, featuring a getaway car that was more stolen than borrowed. Yep, their night out flashed red and blue as the cops crashed their party. Talk about a bad first impression. Keep watching. It's about to go off the rails.
I'm like, yeah, you come see me, what's up? So he came to see me in the Stolo, which they call down in St. Louis, it's a stolen car. So he picks me up in the Stolo. I'm getting dressed or whatnot. Looking out the window, he like, yeah, boo, I'm out. Next thing you know, here come the police like, freeze, get out the car. I'm like, really? You came to pick me up in the stolen car? Really? Right.
Oh, no, nothing about that.
This part's a real soap opera. Just when you thought it couldn't get soapier, in walks Mr. Thomas, another potential baby daddy in the saga of Miss Henderson's little one. Is he the father, or is it Mr. Goodson? It's like Maury Povich in here, but with more legal jargon. Don't touch that dial. The paternity puzzle isn't solved just yet.
It's like a one-night thing. You know how it be some night, might get drunk, be with somebody, might turn you on, just happen.
Right.
Okay, so it was a one-night stand. So either you or your cousin Goodson father.
Yes, ma'am.
It's the big reveal time. Drum roll, please.
It has been determined that when it comes to 4-year-old Lazasia, Mr. Goodson, you are the father.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a wild kickoff, Mr. Matlock spills the tea that he had to dip out for family stuff a while back. While he was gone, claims Ms. Monroe got a bit too cozy and invited her old flame to crash at their pad. This drama sets up a wild ride of a court case. Just wait, it gets even crazier from here.
Mr. Matlock,
Yes, ma'am.
you say that a few years back you were suddenly called away at family business.
Yes,
While
Your Honor.
absent, you claim the defendant, Ms. Monroe, invited her former lover to move into your family home.
Your Honor, that's correct.
Hold on to your popcorn, folk. After Mr. Matlock comes back and forgives Ms. Monroe, they get back to business as usual. Boom, she hits him with news of a bun in the oven, and oh, maybe it's not his. What comes next will have you picking your jaw off the floor.
Upon your return, you say you gave her and resumed your sexual relationship.
Yes.
But then she dropped the bombshell that she was in, and you might not be the father of her child.
Things heat up as Ms. Monroe admits she's really not sure who the daddy is. She defends her sketchy moves by saying Mr. Matlock ghosted her the whole time he was gone, making her think he was out for good. The tea gets even hotter in the next bit.
You admit that you have serious about the paternity of your child. Well, you argue that when Mr. Matt left family business, he stopped answering your phone calls, texts for an entire month.
Your Honor.
That's not correct.
In your defense, you say you believe he was never coming back again.
Yes, Your Honor.
As they dive into their rocky past, Mr. Matlock lays out all their dirty laundry, questioning the trust and loyalty in their relationship. The back and forth about his trip and her moving the ex in just adds more spice to the drama stew. Buckle up, because the next part is a doozy.
Back in 2006, when me and Monroe first got together, she knew I was back and forth from Fort Smith to Fayetteville because I had for a week.
No.
Yeah, no, it was a week.
You were gone a month.
Anyway, Your Honor,
You were gone a month.
when I was gone for a week,
No,
she moved her ex into our home in 1 week, Your Honor.
At what point do you find that she's moved another man into the house?
From her.
Yikes! Talk about a communication fail. Mr. Matlock apparently turned into a ghost, not answering calls, which Ms. Monroe says led her to shuffle her ex into their home. The mess just snowballs from here, leading to an even bigger facepalm moment.
He never answered my calls. Went on for a whole month.
What number you
And
called?
Mr. Matlock, were you getting phone calls from Monroe and not answering?
No, Your Honor, I heard when I called her, but I don't feel like when I'm spending time with my son, I should have to drop her
Still have
every
to talk
waking
to me. If
minute.
I'm your
'cause
girlfriend, you
she's
should care.
jealous
I'm
that
not.
I'm with
If you would have gave me a
every
reason,
woman
then I
on
wouldn't
the
have
block.
In a what were you thinking moment, Ms. Monroe confirms she did indeed move her ex into their love nest when Mr. Matlock went AWOL. This bombshell obviously complicates things big time once Mr. Matlock returns. Grab your snacks, because this next revelation is a hoot.
Mr. Matlock, you returned home.
Put her ex out, talked on the phone
Because I
about
wanted
the
you.
situation.
I didn't want him.
I had feeling for her. I've been knowing her since we were 12, 13. So I felt something about her. So we worked out the whole situation. I eventually moved back in the house, picking up a sexual relationship with her again.
Just when you think things couldn't get more bonkers, Ms. Monroe drops a bomb. Mr. Matlock might not be the daddy. This plot twist kicks off a wild ride through paternity court. Keep watching, because the fallout is just too good to miss.
Am I father of the child? Who's
And
the
I
baby
was
daddy?
honored, right?
She
And
looked
what
at
did
me
she say?
and
I was
said,
honored.
"You're not father." Can't make it up. That's what she said. You are not the father. So I'm not taking care of somebody else's baby, and you tell me that baby is not my baby.
So-
You didn't say that. You are
No, I
not the
didn't.
father.
Get this, Mr. Matlock ends up on the hook for child support because he missed his court date. Talk about a bad day getting worse. The financial and emotional roller coaster that ensues is something straight out of a soap opera. The climax is just around the corner, and it's a big one.
Saying I missed my court date and I was fathered by default. I have evidence to prove that, Your Honor.
When that court date came up, Mr. Matlock, you're saying you never got
No,
notice
ma'am.
of when your court date
No, ma'am.
was. So you didn't show you weren't there. You were determined to be the father.
I am the father. By
And
default.
you have
So
some
that makes-
paperwork.
And here it is, the moment of truth.
When it comes 5-year-old Kenya, you are not.
I knew it! Put somebody else on child support. I want my money back.
All right, buckle up for this one. Mr. Dansby finally spills why he took forever to ask for a DNA test. He blames Miss Simpson's web of lies and a mysterious other dude for his doubts about being little Denoris's daddy. The plot thickens, so stick around.
The reason why it took 3 years, man, because Miss Simpson, she had been lying to me. It was so much shade. She had another dude who she was dealing with. I mean, it was 1 in the morning I had caught.
No, what it was that I had been trying to get you to do a DNA test, but you chose to run. You didn't want to go to the child support place, do the DNA test.
Here comes Mr. Dansby trying to wiggle his way out of this pickle. The judge grills him on why it took him so long to reach out to his maybe son Denoris. Mr. Dansby blames Miss Simpson for playing keep away, which he says stopped him from connecting with the kiddo. Hold on, it's about to get even juicier.
Mr. Dansby, let me ask you this though. What have you made to try to get the DNA test?
Well, Your Honor, it was times where I had reached out to Miss Simpson. I had got in contact with Miss Simpson through phone. There was so much as my son. Why you brought the kid around me? Carol, another
Why
man,
should
like,
I have to
So
bring you?
nobody made enough of an effort to get a DNA test. That's why you're here today.
You're not gonna believe this. Mr. Dansby dishes out a soap opera-worthy morning tale where he finds out another guy is in the picture right as he's sending the kids off to school. The drama's not stopping here. Keep watching.
Man, we met through a mutual friend. She moved me into her home where she was staying there with her other 2 kids. Miss Simpson had another man who she was dealing with. I was getting her kids ready for school. I got them on the school bus. Miss Simpson was taking a shower that morning. I just so happened caught the phone call. It was another dude. He was shocked to hear me.
I don't
Like
recall
was
of
shocked to
that.
hear him. And she told me that it was the dude that was phone bill.
No.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more dramatic, Miss Simpson goes feeling all queasy, and boom, a pregnancy test turns positive. Mr. Dansby's suspicion meter goes through the roof because, let's face it, the timing's as shady as a large oak tree. Don't go anywhere. The roller coaster's just hitting the big drop.
After the strange phone call, she had went to visit her dad in her hometown, where he from, which is Vidalia, Georgia. Okay, we went down there. She said she was feeling sick that particular day.
And I
went to
was.
the pharmacy. She went and took a pregnancy test. She said it came out to find out that she was pregnant. I immediately
Right
assumed-
from the
So
beginning.
if you had
Right
your
from the
dog,
back. Right
if you
from the
didn't
back.
think that this baby was yours, why did you so-called put on like you was happy?
Grab your popcorn, folks. Mr. Dansby pulls out a timeline that's more tangled than last year's Christmas lights. He's connecting dots, pointing fingers, and making sure everyone knows just how mixed up this whole story is. What's next? More bombshells, obviously.
This is my timeline.
Outlines all of the lies.
We met through a friend.
In November 2011, that's when you got the old man phone call.
Yes, I got the phone call from the old dude. He was shocked to hear me just like I was shocked to hear from him.
She announces the pregnancy.
She announced that she told everyone she was pregnant. I had my doubts about it, about her being
So
pregnant.
you were doubtful again if there was something shady going on then too.
Here's a heart tugger. Mr. Dansby meets his potential mini-me for the first time, and it's as awkward as a high school dance. He's feeling all the feels, but mostly confusion and distance, because, well, he's been out of the loop for 3 whole years. Fasten your seatbelts. We're diving deeper.
October 2014. When you
October
say it's the
2014.
first time you met Tenoris, what was shady about that?
That was my first time ever seeing Tonight. I feel like if she's so confident about this, my son, why it took for me 3 years for me to see Tonight?
But I got evidence that
okay, we did
you
take
put
a
on
picture.
Facebook. It is a picture of him snoring where he said,
Things are heating up. Miss Simpson and Mr. Dansby go head-to-head like 2 rams fighting over who made less effort to get in touch. It's a back and forth of you didn't call me first. That's sure to get some eye rolls and laughs.
I really do feel deep down that she was me, man.
dodge you for what? Why would I want to dodge you?
Because you had me lying.
Child that need a father when my child need a father.
My dad wasn't there for me when I was a kid. So I take this very I do want Tanara to know that who his father is. I do want to be his father.
Because you don't want that cycle.
Because I want the kids of my own. I got 3 girls.
Now we're talking turkey, money. The judge breaks down who paid what for Denoris's upkeep, and let's just say it's not adding up for everyone. Mr. Dansby's been sending cash via paycheck garnishments, but Miss Simpson says it's not enough. Get ready, the verdict's about to drop, and it's a biggie.
Now, you came to court suing $3,361.56. You do acknowledge you've received $240 from Mr. Dansby.
Yes, Your Honor.
So for that reason, the court can award you $3,121.56 child rearing expenses.
Buckle up, folks. Ray kicks things off with a bang, claiming her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Lacey, is definitely the dad of her grown son. She's here to prove it once and for all, spicing up the court with her determination and the juicy details of their past. And folks, it gets even juicier from here.
Mr. Ray, you are in court. Prove to your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Lacey, that is the biological father of your adult son, Von Lacey. You state that the defendant has been an absentee father full of excuses, and you want it all to end today in court with the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Here's where it heats up. Trayvon, the son in question, throws down the gauntlet, calling Mr. Lacey an absentee dad, loaded with excuses. He's all fired up, wanting today to be the day they end this drama and get to the truth. Hang tight. The courtroom's about to turn into a sauna.
Well, it's not fair to my son, and he really needs to man up, because he's depriving my child of a father. He is the father of my son.
You believe that you are not Trayvon's biological father?
Yes, ma'am.
Believe that from the beginning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Just when you think it couldn't get more tangled, it's revealed Mr. Lacey's name is on the birth certificate. Talk about a plot thickener. This twist adds layers of mystery and potential chaos. You won't believe how they try to unravel this knot.
So this birth certificate, child's name, Trayvon Lacey, father's name, Larry Lacey, but it's typed in. Was he present at the birth?
He was not present, no.
You basically just gave them his name.
I gave him his name.
And they typed it in.
Yeah.
Things just got real. Mr. Lacey shares his shocker moment when he first found out about the paternity claim, leading to a surprise invitation to child support court. It's like a soap opera with legal jargon, and trust me, the drama is only ramping up from here.
Mr. Lacey, when did you find out that she claimed were Trayvon's biological father?
I say Trayvon probably
Charlie was about between 3 and 6 months years old. I received court paper, State of Ohio Child Support Court. Me and Miss Torre, we did both appear at the Child Support Court. When I walked into the court, the judge, he looked at me, he said, "That's your son, you have nothing to say."
As the plot thickens, the court digs into the child support dough Mr. Lacey has been shelling out. He confirms he's been paying up, despite the daddy drama. This bit is crucial because it sets the stage for some major emotional fireworks that are about to blast off.
And his court papers say paying child support. You
Yes,
paying
and
child support.
I have proof that, Your Honor.
But Your Honor, I want to put this to bed. I'm tired of reliving that. You know, okay, I made a mistake. What is even a mistake? I was just living on my own. And he just keep throwing his man in my over and making my son feel bad. I'm ready to put it to bed. That's what I wanted and get on with our life.
Feel the tension in the air? Both sides are worn out from the drama and just want to know if Mr. Lacey is really the pops. It's a tug of war with emotions, and everyone's on edge. But hold on to your seats because the truth bomb is about to drop.
Nor is my intention to make Mr. Torre feel bad. The thing I want to know is the truth.
There is, in fact, a question, a real question of paternity. Both sides acknowledge. You presented this evidence to the court, which indicates that you owe $37,200 and some odd dollars in child support.
You're down to $5,000.
You've got about $5,800.
Get ready for some gossip. Ray spills the tea on how she and Mr. Lacey first got together, complete with the steamy details of their early flings. It's a real tell-all moment that sheds light on their rocky romance. And folks, you're gonna want to stick around for the blockbuster DNA reveal.
I just moved in town. I got my new apartment. I was feeling all grown in my apartment, doing grown stuff in my grown. Well, I didn't find out until I went to the OBGYN, and at that time he had told me that I was like 12 to 14 weeks already into my pregnancy. And he was the only man I had sex in that time frame. Because I didn't know nobody else.
Pregnant. We had only been together for no more than a month. How could Trayvon be my child?
Here it comes.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Lacey, you are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor. I told you. Now stand up, give my son his respect.
Get ready for a wild ride. The show kicks off with the judge diving straight into the drama, asking Ms. Butler to spill the beans about whether Mr. Wilson really is little Nyona's dad. Ms. Butler is all in, totally convinced that Nyona is his kiddo, setting us up for a roller coaster of a court session. You're not gonna wanna miss what comes next.
Before we go through all the trouble of hearing a ton of testimony, why don't you just be honest, Ms. Butler, and let us know whether you really believe Mr. Wilson is Nyona's biological father.
I really feel like she's his. I do.
Things are heating up. Ms. Butler is sure that Nyona belongs to Mr. Wilson, but kind of wobbly about Zaria. This confession stirs up a whole pot of questions about both kids and what Mr. Wilson's deal is with them. Hang on, because it's about to get even juicier.
If you had to doubt one of the children, you really didn't know if Zariah's his, but Nyona you're pretty confident about.
Nyona's definitely yours.
You said that about the other one.
We just heard that same testimony, didn't we, Jerome?
Thought both of the kids was yours. We always had sex without no condom.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. The judge isn't pulling any punches, calling out Ms. Butler on her questionable mothering skills amid all the chaos. This serious chat really digs into the family mess and what's expected of a mom in this courtroom. And guess what? It only gets wilder from here.
Because I want to get the information on Nyona because I do want her to know who her biological father is. I'm disappointed, Ms. Butler. You a mother.
No, she's not at all. Don't have a clue what being the mother is.
I do love my kids.
Don't have a clue what being the mother.
And I do want to do better. I actually do.
Can you believe this? We dive into the soap opera of their relationship when Nyona was conceived. Mr. Wilson paints a picture of a not-so-cozy love nest with Ms. Butler, complete with other dudes and sneaky moves, complicating the whole "who's your daddy?" question.
What was this relationship then?
She was living in an apartment, so I would come over periodically, check on the kids. We might have sex sometimes, but everybody in the apartment talking about everybody running out the house. And I called a guy over there one time. I knocked on the door. She's trying to hide a dude in the bathroom. Multiple occasions.
There was not no multiple occasions.
Guys.
You only seen one.
I only seen it one time, but everybody tell me.
Boom! Drama bomb dropped. Mr. Wilson catches another guy at Ms. Butler's place right when Nyona might have been made. This juicy bit shakes up the whole paternity claim Ms. Butler has been making.
Just been my past. Then the guys in the apartment telling me
He just been thinking and guessing.
I ain't been guessing.
That's all he been doing.
People don't know me like that. They wouldn't lie to me. Man, your baby mama, man, she gonna have this dude, that dude, you know.
So, Mr. Wilson, what happened when you found out pregnant with Nyona?
I told her it wasn't my baby.
You gotta see this. The judge tackles the sad reality that Mr. Wilson isn't really playing dad to Nyona, pointing out how this could mess up the little one. This heart-to-heart is all about how important it is for a dad to be in the picture. The next clip is a real tearjerker, or maybe not.
What kind of relationship does she have with Mr. Wilson?
None at all. He don't really come by to see her. Nothing really.
Can't come by. Too many men running in and out. Can't come by. I'm scared to go over there. I took him from her house and moved him in with me. I didn't want them kids to be around that man.
So you have the two kids,
my 2 kids
with your last name.
Yeah.
It's crunch time. As we gear up for the big DNA reveal, the room's buzzing with tension. The judge lays down the law, schooling both parents on how they're messing up big time. And just when you think it can't get more intense, we're about to drop the big news.
We're gonna find out right now, because I'm about sick of y'all. I really am. This is just so ragged.
Yeah, it is ragged.
No, it really is. And you sitting up in here just talking like you on a playground somewhere. No, what? And listen to me. Stomach growing instead of your mind.
Here comes the moment of truth. The results are in, and bam.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Wilson, you are the father.
Mr. Lillard spills the beans on why he had to drag this case into court, all because of a bombshell message last year from Ms. Holt's 20-year-old son, Delvin Holt. Ms. Holt vents about her 20-year struggle to get Mr. Lillard to step up and take responsibility for Delvin. The segment wraps up with the judge seeking confirmation on the day's agenda, and Ms. Holt is like, yep, that's the plan, Your Honor.
Mr. Lillard, you say you were forced to open this case after receiving a message last year from Ms. Holt's 20-year-old son, Delvin Holt. Ms. Holt, you say you have unsuccessfully tried for 20 years to get Mr. Lillard to accept responsibility for your son, Delvin, and today is the day he is finally going to accept the truth.
Yes. Mr. Lillard gets all nostalgic, revealing intimate details about his past. With Ms. Holt, turns out she was his first in a bunch of things. Cue the audience all. He reminisces about the love and heartbreak she brought into his life, sharing a glimpse into their deep yet rocky past.
I'm just saying, I had a lot of admiration for her, but it's also my first heartbreak, first person I really experienced what pain was. You know, it's not been no back and forth fighting over the years. It's been a very cordial thing. She made some mistakes that cost everybody a lot of pain right now, me and him.
Pain.
You know,
so to do with him.
Mr. Lillard uncovers the sticky mess of catching Ms. Holt cheating, sparking off a major drama. He tells a wild tale of skipping school and trekking 2 miles to confront her, culminating in a classic peek through the peephole moment.
Oh, this very sunny, bright day, decided not to be at school. I left school, 2 miles to a family's home, knocked on their door, no answer. Looked
like
through the
that.
peephole, shadows moving all around.
No.
Tiptoeing towards the door. So I parked myself on that concrete
Your
steady
Honor.
against 4 or 5 hours till they had to come out.
It wasn't even in there that long, so you...
Amid a fiery back and forth about who did what and who saw whom, Ms. Holt tries to set the record straight that it was just a friend at her place, not a lover. The conversation hits a peak when she admits to also testing another dude for paternity, thickening the plot.
Yeah.
Who was in the house with you?
That was just a friend. We was not in there for no 4 hours. Maybe it was like 10, 15
I left second
minutes.
period. Second period, that's early in the
No,
morning.
it was not.
So you got third period, fourth period, time, fifth period, and sixth period.
In this tearjerker segment kicking, Delvin steps into the spotlight to share his side of the story, talking about growing up without Mr. Lillard. His mom reinforces his belief about Lillard being the pops, priming us for some major revelations.
My mom has always told me he was my father. I just basically came here to let him know I don't need a father, but I just really want to come to find out if he is so I can have closure, me and my mom.
I mean, you can tell on the pictures. They look just alike. It's not a secret.
It really it hurt me a little bit. Any kid needs a father, you feel me?
The big reveal happens here.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Lillard, you are not the father.
Okay, baby.
Who was supposed to be my dad?
It's not Mr. Moore. I had already moved on.
But the
I
other
was very
guys
young.
that she says is father, I look nothing like.
And you don't
They
look
have
like,
never
and she
claimed
doesn't look
me.
like him either.
I look like
I've never kept secret. I've always been honest to the best of my ability.
He left his phone in the Uber, downloaded the app on my phone, contact with his Uber. Tell the Uber driver I'll give him 100 if he has.
So you using your phone to get him an Uber, but you're using your phone to tell your boyfriend, I'm running late, babe, I'm gas station?
Because by the time I found out, I was 4 months pregnant with her. You see what I'm saying? So there could be a list of whomever. It's the timing.
The list that is missing out of my diary.
Really? The
Yeah,
list
that's
that you
missing out of my
fabricated, you got in the book?
Where's it at? It's gone.
Jennifer Robinson steps up to the plate, throwing a curveball at her mom, Kathleen Harms, accusing her of cooking up a paternity fraud stew. She's adamant that her mom got the name wrong on her birth certificate and insists that Mr. Moore is her real dad. This spicy opener sets the stage for an emotional roller coaster.
This case of Robinson v. Harm.
Ms. Robinson, you are suing your mother for paternity fraud and are here to prove that Mr. Moore is your biological father, even though your mother, another man's dad's name on your birth certificate. Ms. Harris, you're certain Mr. Moore is not your daughter's father and claim her case of paternity fraud outrageous.
Yes.
Jennifer is not holding back, folks. She's all kinds of frustrated about how long it took to crack the case of her father's identity, pointing fingers at her mom for keeping the secret under wraps. She's been on a lifelong scavenger hunt for the truth, which apparently was not on her mom's priority list, deepening the plot and her sense of betrayal.
Honestly, Your Honor, I don't feel that I'm the one that waited 36 years. I feel that my mom waited 36 years to help find who my father is. I have always, tried to ask about my father. I guess it was a part of her he didn't just want to bring up, so it always got pushed to the back burner. Or I was told, get the hell out of her, leave her alone, don't ask any questions of who your dad is.
In a fiery face-off, Kathleen swears she's been an open book, while Jennifer accuses her of editing out some major chapters about her dad's identity. The tension is thicker than a mystery novel, revealing layers of family secrets and heated emotions.
Who was supposed to be my dad?
It's not Mr. Moore. I had already moved on.
But the other guys that she says is father, I look nothing like.
And you don't look like,
never
she doesn't look like him either.
I look like.
I've never kept secret. I've always been honest to the best of my ability.
We were supposed to come here 3 weeks ago. My mom, for some reason, was nervous.
It wasn't that I was nervous. I just didn't want to come here at that time to listen to any more of their lies.
Jennifer whips out a birth certificate like it's a smoking gun, questioning whether the scribbles under father's name are legit. This piece of paper might as well be a treasure map, pointing to clues of forgery and deception, making everyone lean in a bit closer to their screens.
I think helps me prove that he's my father. First, I have
gray hair,
a birth certificate. On the father's spot, it has a signature. Now, when I looked at that, I seen that the signature looked new. It didn't look as old as my mom's, but I'm a kid, so I went along with it. Last year, I needed to get a new ID. So I go to get a new ID, and they told me that my original birth certificate was not good enough. I needed to get the new one.
Here comes Mr. Moore, striding in like he owns the place, ready to drop some bombshells of his own. He claims he's the daddy based on a history that includes more than a few close encounters of the intimate kind, adding a spicy twist to the already simmering pot. Keep your eyes peeled, because the truth serum is about to be administered.
Don't think you just a mess. He always told me he was my daddy.
We're here for Jennifer, Miss Robinson, and she's indicated through her testimony that you believe you are her biological father. Do you?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
You do. Tell the court why.
Well, Your Honor, she used to babysit a sister's kid, and I used to go there a lot, and we were having sex a lot. It wasn't no little bit. It's true.
The moment of truth lands like a lead balloon.
It has been determined by this court, Moore, you are not her father.
Dude, who is my daddy?
Guess what just hit the fan? Ms. Luttrell spills the beans about her lifelong daddy dilemma, hoping she's cracked the code after a DIY DNA test. The judge lays down the law, prepping to sift through the evidence like a detective at a disco. Stick around, because it's about to get as wild as a squirrel at a nut factory.
This is a case of Luttrell versus Leaks.
Ms. Luttrell, you filed your case because you say after a lifetime of confusion of not knowing who your biological father is and receiving no help from your mother, you are now hopeful because you believe you have finally found your dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ready for a curveball wrapped in a mystery? Ms. Luttrell locks eyes with Mr. Leaks, the potential pops, for the very first time right in the courtroom. Their meeting is charged with more emotion than a soap opera finale, courtesy of Jerome's smooth moves.
I found him because I did a DNA test through Ancestry.com.
You have never met him?
No, I've never met him in person, face to face.
Are you ready to see him for the first time?
Yes, I'm really excited. I really would like to.
Mr. Leak into the courtroom.
Hello, Mr. Leaks. Maybe go up here on the left-hand side.
Can you dig it? Ms. Luttrell digs into her tough childhood tales and the daddy vanishing act. Her stories are more tangled than headphones in your pocket, including a dad who went out for smokes and ghosted.
My childhood, pretty rough, growing up with my mom being a single mom. My whole life, I always wanted to know who my father was.
What were you told about your father?
As a young child, at around 8 years old, I was told that father had went to the store, apparently was to buy a cigarette, and he never came back. That was the first story my mother told me.
Throwing a wild card here, the judge dives into the daddy drama, questioning if one of several men could be the father. Ms. Melody Luttrell admits to past flings faster than a reality TV show plot thickens, mentioning a co-worker and a classmate.
Say there are 3 possible fathers, one of which was a co-worker.
Yes, we dated, we got familiar with each other, and then it ended up in intimacy.
Did you ever tell that person you were pregnant?
I didn't know how to contact, and I had moved as well.
You also say that there was a classmate.
Things are heating up. Ms. Luttrell lays out how she matched Mr. Leaks on Ancestry.com, kicking off a family tree treasure hunt. The courtroom feels more like a reunion as they puzzle out the pieces.
You were having sex with all these men and you didn't even get their phone number or know their full name or where they're from?
Well, they were like short relationships, so I didn't know really where they were.
What happened with Mr. Lee?
It was a party that had occurred in my neighborhood. I got to know somebody, I don't know if it's him, but somebody that could be her father at that party.
This twist could tie a pretzel. Mr. Leaks throws cold water on the party tale, claiming he never crashed that particular bash. His denial denial throws a wrench in the works, contradicting mom's party animal anecdote.
Do you remember this party and this one-night stand?
No, I'm just looking at it right now thinking, okay, it's nice to meet you, but I was not at that party.
Were you ever at a party having sex with...
You know, if I have a child or anything like that, if I even know there's a chance I'll have a child, I'm sticking around. I'm not going anywhere.
You won't believe this bit. The judge reveals that back in the baby-making days, Mr. Leeks and Ms. Luttrell's mom were practically neighbors. Despite Mr. Leeks' party denials, the judge suggests they might have boogied at the same bash.
Where both of you would have been living during the window of... And the truth is, you all didn't live far away from one another at that time. You were in Sacramento. Mr. Leeks, Ms. Luttrell, you were as well, about 14 minutes away from one another. So, I mean, it wouldn't be inconceivable to think you could have been at the same party.
I wasn't at no party.
Now for the moment of truth. Ish. After soaking in all the soap opera-worthy details, the judge gives the green light for a DNA test. It's more anticipated than a finale cliffhanger.
When you walked into the courtroom, Mr. Leek, you were satisfied possibility that she could potentially be your daughter, which says to me, sex with somebody, and then there are family members of yours that it is not so far-fetched that he could be your father, and then you say, well, if I'm not her biological father, somebody in my family is, because she's just like my mother to me.
Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Leek, you are not father. I'm very sorry, Ms. Luttrell.
Opening shot. Can you even handle this? Ms. Pringle kicks things off with a bombshell as she hauls Mr. Brown to court, over denying he's the dad of their tiny tot, Tatiana. She's super stressed about him dodging daddy duties since day one. Buckle up to catch Mr. Brown's wild rebuttal.
Pringle, you open this case against Mr. Brown because you say he denied fathering your 18-month daughter, Tatiana. You state he has acted like she doesn't exist since the day she was born. You want Mr. Brown to step after today's result? Prove he is father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown's rebuff. Talk about a plot twist. Mr. Brown fires back, branding Ms. Pringle as the unfaithful one, and doubles down that Tatiana's real dad is some other dude. His bold refusal kicks the drama up a notch, complete with so-called medical proof. The emotional fireworks are just getting started.
Mr. Brown, you claim Ms. Pringle is a known cheater, fathered the child in question with another man. You insist there is no way you are her daughter's father and have medical evidence to prove your case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Heartbreak Alley. Grab your tissues. Ms. Pringle, in tears, lays out the loneliness of solo parenting, pointing fingers at Mr. Brown, the emotional whirlwind their daughter is caught in. As she makes her tearful plea to Mr. Brown, brace yourself for a revelation that'll throw another curveball into the mix.
It hurts really bad because I have to raise her on my own, and no child should go through that.
Can you look at Mr. Brown and tell him how much this hurts?
It hurts really bad that you're denying my daughter. She looks for you every day.
Bet you didn't see this one coming. Amidst the chaos, Ms. Pringle drops a truth bomb about a fleeting fling she had via a dating app, tossing even more spice into the paternity mystery stew. Hang tight as the saga of their rocky romance unfolds next.
I met someone on a dating site. We made out. That's what happened.
Or realized you were pregnant?
I went to a free clinic and I took the test and they said I had 4 weeks and 3 days.
Pregnant?
Yes.
And then you called Mr. Brown?
Yes, and I told him I was pregnant.
Oh, the drama thickens. Flashback to when Mr. Brown was all cheers about the pregnancy, only to hit the brakes and bail 2 months later. This plot twist digs deeper into the murky timeline of their love life. Stay tuned for an unexpectedly sporty demonstration.
He was happy and we were together for like 2 months and we broke up.
You were only happy for 2 months?
We didn't have sex at the time, like the conceiving time that she got pregnant, but we was broken.
At the conception time, you didn't have sex then?
No.
I don't know where he got his information from, but there's nobody but him.
We're going forensic. Both camps bring out the big guns with medical evidence trying to settle the paternity puzzle. As they move from teary tales to test tubes and DNA tests, get ready for a demo that might just crack a smile.
You say you both have medical evidence that proves your case. Ms. Pringle, you say you have medical evidence that proves Mr. Brown is Tatiana's biological father. And Mr. Brown, you say you have medical evidence that proves there is no way you can be Tatiana's biological father. Can you tell me about your medical evidence that says Mr. Brown is in fact her biological father?
This is hilariously heartwarming. In a goofy yet telling moment, Ms. Pringle and Jerome, the ever so helpful bailiff, break into squats. Why? They claim it's a quirky trait that Tatiana inherited from Mr. Brown. Watch on for a dive into medical mysteries that's quite the eyebrow raiser.
What is the squat?
Like when I'm fixing on something.
Let me see.
I can do that.
Jerome! Now, Jerome, if you can do this squat, that would then help Mr. Brown's case that it may not be hereditary. Jerome, now can you squat down there like that?
Exactly how.
Oh, Oh, shoot!
Twist. Adding a spin to the medical melee, Mr. Brown plays the asthma card, noting it's a family trait missing in Tatiana. This sparks a chat with Dr. Gator, who sheds light on whether asthma can really hint at paternity. The emotional appeals coming up are total heart-tuggers.
Okay, my medical evidence, I have asthma and it runs down in the family. My other kid has asthma.
Your other kid has asthma. How many other children you have?
I would have had 8.
Here comes the emotional climax. Ms. Pringle, in a raw outpour, begs Mr. Brown to step up as Tatiana's father, stressing not just the financial, but the deep emotional stakes. What's decided here could change their lives forever.
I want you to help me financially, emotionally, physically, to be there for her and show her what a guy shouldn't do to her when she grows up. You have to be there and teach her all these things.
The tension peaks.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are the father.
Mr. Reyes kicks off with a bombshell, doubting he's the dad of the adorable 11-month-old Moon, who he's been parenting like a champ. He's pointing fingers at Ms. Prickett's ex as the potential bio-dad, stirring up a real soap opera scenario in the courtroom. Buckle up, because this baby drama is just getting started.
You've opened your case today because you doubt fathered Ms. Prickett's 11-month-old daughter, Moon. Raising Moon, but now believe you were duped and are certain her father is the defendant's ex-husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
In a twist worthy of a detective novel, Mr. Reyes demands a voice analysis test to check if Ms. Prickett has been playing the field. This high-tech truth quest aims to uncover whether there's been some behind-the-scenes action. Next up, the results are going to drop some jaws.
Additionally, you petitioned the court for a forensic voice analysis test to determine the extent of the defendant cheating.
Ms. Prickett firmly throws down the gauntlet, claiming Mr. Reyes is definitely Moon's dad and she's here to prove it, hoping to glue her family back together. She's all in, folks.
Ms. Prickett, you claim you are certain that the plaintiff is Moon's father and hope to prove it, save your family.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any spicier, Ms. Prickett drops the news of another bun in the oven. Mr. Reyes is sweating bullets over this latest plot twist as doubts and diapers pile up. Suspense is building. What's going to happen when the truth comes out?
I see she's currently pregnant,
Yes, ma'am.
so this has to add to the stress. Mr. Reyes believes you're setting him up to raise a child that isn't his.
Joseph is definitely the father. I've never been unfaithful with him. He has a great bond with Moon. He is the father. This is insane that he even thinks that he's not.
Hold the phone. Ms. Prickett vanishes in the wee hours, only to say she was hashing things out with her ex. Mr. Reyes is having none of it, and frankly, neither is the courtroom. This mystery ride is about to go off the rails.
One of the things is that I woke up around 4 in the morning. She wasn't in the house and her car was gone from the driveway.
Well, it was actually 6 in the morning.
She got back at 6.
What
She could have been
Joe
gone for
has
hours.
to realize that I do have a child, my ex-husband. I felt like I needed to resolve issues with him.
In another you can't make this stuff up moment, Ms. Prickett is late because she supposedly turned into a good Samaritan at a gas station at midnight. Her story about a random dude, a full tank, and a crisp $100 bill sounds like a fishy fishtail.
I was working at a restaurant. She'd normally be there between 10 and 10:15. She said she was on her way and she stopped at a gas station. She was dodging my calls and my text messages. When I finally get a hold of her 2 hours later, this is around 12 a.m., she says that she was at the gas station. Random man randomly filled up her gas tank, asked her for a ride to his hotel, and then gave her $100.
Sneaking out to meet the ex at 5 a.m. and not a peep to Mr. Reyes sounds like a recipe for disaster, or at least for some serious side-eye from the judge. This segment is a real head-scratcher, and you'll be scratching yours too.
He left his phone in the Uber, downloaded the app on my phone, contact with his Uber. Tell the Uber driver I'll give him $100 if he meets us so I get my phone. He says, I'll give you another $100 for doing this for me. So I was like, I was trying to, get it in contact with the Uber.
So you using your phone to get him an Uber, but you're using your phone to tell your boyfriend, I'm running late, babe, I'm gas station?
Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Reyes, you are the father.
So we kick off with Mr. Griffin spilling the beans right out the gate. He admits he had a not-so-little fling with his wife's stepsister, Mrs. Richmond, while still hitched. Mrs. Richmond, on her part, isn't buying that she and Mr. Griffin cooked up a daughter together, and she's here to prove him wrong. As the gavel goes down, everyone braces for a roller coaster of family drama.
You were a married man who had a 2-year affair with your wife's stepsister. That relationship produced a daughter, but Ms. Richmond claims you are not the daughter's biological father. Lakeisha is here to support your claim. Miss Richmond, you admit to the affair with Mr. Griffin, but say the plaintiff is not your daughter's biological father, and you plan to prove that in court today.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, hold on to your popcorn. Mr. Griffin drops the bomb that he's been a bit naughty, calling his 2-year fling with his sister-in-law a dishonest mistake. Talk about a whoopsie. The judge isn't letting this slide and grills him on the nature of his so-called mistake, making it clear we're not just talking spilled milk here.
Honest mistake, Your Honor, but at the same...
Wait, now there wasn't no mistaken identity. You knew it was wife's sister.
No, I'm talking about me doing what I did.
Was it an honest mistake or a dishonest mistake?
Dishonest mistake.
How long did this mistake
It lasted, I'd say, about 2 years.
2 years?
No, a year.
This wasn't no mistake. This was a decision.
Exactly.
Here comes a tender moment, folk, or awkward, depending on how you see it. Mrs. Richmond reminisces about the time she told Mr. Griffin he might be the daddy. She paints a picture of him playing sim with the baby, holding her up to the light as if he's expecting a divine sign or something. This scene really lays the feels on thick, with more "Are you the daddy?" moments on the horizon.
He came over to my house, picked her up, and he went up on the stairs and he, put her up to the light, and he said, yeah, she could be mine. And that was the last we ever discussed him seeing her, actually, of me and him and about her being...
I never seen...
Coming to that part.
Miss Richmond Tykia, you're asserting in court that you have not seen Mr. Griffin?
I've seen him one time when I was like 14 in my life. I spoke to him first time on the phone.
And just when you think you've got the plot, the script flips. The court's all muddled up with he said, she said about a DNA test. Mrs. Richmond swears the test booted Mr. Griffin from the daddy role, while he remembers getting a "congratulations, it's a girl" kind of result. Grab your detective hats because we're about to play Who's Your Daddy? Detective Edition.
She was young, because if it wasn't my daughter, what would the reason she come and tell me that she was pregnant?
You weren't together during the pregnancy?
After I got married, we never had too much contact because I got a relationship with another gentleman.
You didn't want to.
While you were pregnant with his child?
Hardly see each other.
She was trying to hide from her stepsister.
So, Mr. Griffin, how did you tell your wife that you got her sister pregnant?
I didn't.
Cue the violins as Tykia steps up and shares how this whole daddy dilemma has been a real bummer. Growing up not knowing if Mr. Griffin is her pops, it's a real tearjerker as she talks about the missing pieces in her family puzzle. But dry those eyes, there's a plot twist coming up that's straight out of a telenovela.
When I was like in high school, I got a message on MySpace from Keisha. Just a long little thing saying, "I think you're my sir," and I'm just like, who is this girl?
First got the message, were you overwhelmed with emotion, or did you?
I just thought she was crazy because of what my mom say.
Oh, because your mom had told you?
All I know is what my mom said.
All right, things take a somber turn here. Tykia shares a heart-wrenching story about her hubby's tragic accident, which happened on the same day she skipped a family wedding. It's a real downer, especially with her feeling all cut off from the Griffin clan. But keep those tissues handy, as we're not out of the woods yet. There's a moment of truth coming that might just patch up some broken hearts.
One of the other sisters, Griffin sisters, her wedding was May 21st, 2011. He invited me and my husband believed I looked like some of the other sisters. He was like, yeah, we should go. And I'm like, I don't know. And then I like the other people, like my sister and my mom, they're like, I don't think they're your family, so why go all the way to Michigan?
Get ready for some serious family feels. The judge nudges Mr. Griffin to give a fatherly pep talk to Tykia if he really believes she's his. It's a touching scene, sort of like a come to Jesus moment, but with more legal jargon. And just when you think you've seen it all, get ready for the grand finale, DNA results.
I want you to look across the aisle right now. This is a woman, you say this is your daughter. And I want you to turn to your daughter right now, if you believe this is your daughter. And I'd like for you to tell the court, and more importantly, how you recognize what she feels.
I'm sorry, your husband, and I wished I had been there for you. I'm sorry for not being there for you.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Griffin, you are not her father. 32 years of thinking you were this woman's father.
Can you even handle this? Ms. Myers strides into court with her mom, Ms. Madrigal, to solve the mystery of who her real dad is. She's frustrated because her mom handed her a list of 13 potential dads, like it's some kind of bizarre guessing game. Strap in, because this soap opera is just getting started.
Ms. Myers, you have brought your mother, Ms. Madrigal, to court today because she has no idea who your biological father is. You say your mother gave you a list of 13 possible men, and you are hoping to determine who your father is today.
things just got spicier. It comes out that Ms. Myers got drip-fed names of possible dads over a whole year, turning her life into a real-life Maury episode. This bombshell has left her with more daddy issues than a daytime drama. You gotta see what's up next. It's a doozy.
And so at 13 years old, how did you find out there were potentially 13 different men that could be your father?
The list came from my mom telling me over approximately a year, maybe a little longer. She would always just say, you know, here's a name. I think to her it seemed like it was a joke.
Grab your tissues, folks. Ms. Myers spills her guts about how tough it was growing up without a dad, feeling all kinds of lost and mixed up. This moment is more loaded than a Thanksgiving turkey. But wait, there's more heartache ahead.
I feel lost. You know, I feel confused. I don't know who I am. I don't know my hair. I don't know what I'm completely mixed with. I don't know where I
For me,
Yeah, I
doesn't
knew
matter.
you're half of the
Doesn't
family,
matter.
but that's only half
Nobody
the story.
else matters.
That's
Can't
only
no
half
man,
the story.
Can't no man raise me better than you can't, though. It doesn't even matter, so
raised me?
save it. Oh, I raised you.
No, you didn't. You weren't even there. So anyway.
All right, buckle up. The court rolls up its sleeves to get down to the business of figuring out who the real daddy is, testing 2 of the lucky 13 contenders. This is where the rubber meets the road. Brace for impact, because the drama level is about to skyrocket.
You gotta realize I was 17. So any calculation with time, I could have been way off and not known. Because by the time I found out, I was 4 months pregnant with her. You see what I'm saying? So there could be a list of whomever. It's the timing.
The list that is missing out of my diary.
Really? The list that you
missing out of my
fabricated, got in the book?
Where's it at? It's gone.
Just when you thought it couldn't get messier, Mr. McCraney drops a bombshell about his brief fling with Ms. Madrigal that might have led to Ms. Myers' arrival on planet Earth. It's like a plot twist in a bad rom-com. Stick around because the tears are just about to flow.
I also found out, Your Honor, that when she left my house to another man's house,
Sure did.
and the same
Sure
thing
did.
happened same day.
Yeah. This wasn't planned. Friend was
Your
going there to
Honor,
meet up
her
with his
and the
cousin.
same friend
That's
that
how
was
it
at my
happened.
house, his house. That's how I know it was the same day.
I was 13 and I was going into 14.
Your mother, Ms. Madrigal, stated that you the weekend at one of his girlfriend's house.
Oh boy, here it comes. Ms. Myers completely loses it, overwhelmed by all the family drama and secrets spilling out all over the courtroom floor. It's sadder than a bowl of melted ice cream, but hold your horses. The big reveal is up next, and it's a humdinger.
Because I shouldn't have to go through this. I'm 26 years old with my own. I
Doesn't
shouldn't
matter
have to go
because
through
I'm
this
your mama and I'm
at
and that's
all.
what I've been.
So
Tell
I'm
these
not
people what
hearing
you want. They don't live in my shoes. I raised you and I raised you. So all this other doesn't
you
even
didn't.
matter. I would die for you, so stop the rest.
Everyone's on the edge of their seats. The big moment hits when the DNA test results are about to be dropped like a hot potato. This could go any way, folks. The suspense is eliminating us.
When it comes to Miss Monica Myers, Mr. Keith McCraney, it has been determined by this court that you are the father.
There it is.
Faint, Mr. McCraney?
I what?
I don't believe that at all.
Whoa.
No.
All right.